about, I know oftentimes you guys will have access to speaker notes before they show up. You will have access to actually my speaker notes afterwards. I'd much rather focus on the process that we're going through than trying to follow the notes or catch the notes or looking at them and going, okay, I can tune out. And I was sharing with my table here a little bit about, I was asked to come in and help with a merger acquisition after the fact that didn't go very well. And that's where I asked an anthropologist friend of mine, is there such a thing as corporate anthropology? And she thought, oh, that's interesting. Because like real anthropologists don't make any money, put corporate in front of them, they might make something. And so that's when I started to look. I've got a degree in biology, and that's all about systems. And I started to look at these things not just as like cultural exchange. We talked about a cultural arc for two organizations where you're trying to bring them together for an acquisition or merger. And we started talking about cultural arcs. And you saw me passing out the sticks in the cups, right? We're going to do a little exercise. We're going to use it to analyze a system. And what I want you to do is build a bridge with those 3 cups and 3 sticks. So again, this will be a nice break in your meal. And what I want you to do is, there's an open space kind of at the corner or someplace. I want you to set it up, and if you'll notice, each cup is 1 stick distance. These are knives, but I think you can make the transition. Each cup is more than 1 stick distance apart from every other cup. So the challenge as you finish setting this up is each stick has to be up on the top part of the cup. It can't be on the side or in the lip on the bottom, but on the top part of the cup. And if you can do that right now, then your cups are too close. Okay. So what's going to have to happen is each stick has to be supported by a cup, and you have to be able to get from one cup to each of the other cups without, if this is a bridge, you can't step on the table. So the challenge is that these cups are further apart than the sticks are, so you have to figure a different way to bridge it. What I want to do is I want to use this exercise to analyze a system. Let's think of this approach, and we try to break it down into its component systems. They're from Australia, where they introduced rabbits for weed control. And you know what rabbits do? They did what they did, and there's this great picture where there's a rabbit-proof fence that is one side is desolate because the rabbits ate everything, and they overwhelmed any of the predators. Then you can go time after time when an ecosystem, a natural ecosystem, tipped to something that was just drastically horrible. But when you talk about a managed ecosystem, which to me matches much more what a corporation or organization is, it's designed to produce something. A managed ecosystem, a garden, is designed to produce whatever you planted.
Another, and looking at what are the ripple effects of that. So it could be positive ripple effects and negative. It's going to affect this department here. It's going to affect the department that person's going to.
Yeah.
Just managing that.
Yeah, the idea that when you move somebody, just one person moving departments, that concept of changing silos has a ripple effect. And there's never a single cause and a single effect. It's a cause with multiple effects and multiple effects causing something. And if you talk about when you first start, you start to put together an IT stack, and it's not about just having a single program that does everything. It's about getting programs that talk to each other well. Same thing goes in your overall organization. The idea isn't to get rid of silos, it's getting the silos to work together. Managing the white space between those silos, which is a system.
I went in and I worked at a corporate university doing leadership and organizational development for a number of years. And a couple of things that happened there were, you remember smartboards? Okay, when those first came out, they're like $10,000 a unit, and they had to be hung up in the room. Well, I looked around, I found out how I could make or simulate a smartboard wherever I went. I had a projector and a Wii controller. And so that's about maybe, and a laser pointer. So it's about $50 worth of equipment. that I could take with me wherever I went instead of $10,000. And the organization liked that. Imagine that. So those are the types of things that really get me going. Is I like to figure stuff out, and I like to make stuff up that works. The brain science is really amazing as well. When a story is well told, it releases hormones. They call it the angel's cocktail. And it helps you not only remember, but it can help you move you to action. It can help you empathize. And so choosing the right story is so important. And that was one of the biggest lessons for me, was that, I grew up around a campfire, and stories were about entertainment. But when I started getting into leadership development, I realized stories were tools in a leader's toolkit. Somebody once said, I think it was a guy named Covey, but it came before that, begin with the end in mind. The very first thing that you want to do when you're trying to figure out a story that you're going to use in any context is figure out, what do you want them to say when you're done with the story? Make it have a point first. Choose your destination so you paint a crystal clear target on what your story is going to be about. What response do you want people to have? Do you want them to say, oh man, I never thought of it that way? Or, yeah, I've seen that happen before. Or, man, that would be really good to know what to do. So think about the response that you want them to have and paint that target. The next thing that you want to do is you want to do what they call divergent thinking. Divergent thinking means that you want to come up with a whole bunch of ideas about what stories you might use. And you can look back in your childhood, look back in your career. You can even go to literature, movies, TVs. What stories might fit that in? And you come up with as much as you can. Then you do convergent thinking. Choose the best story, the best one or two stories that you want to develop and practice. Then you take that story that you want to do and you work on it. And it won't be that great the first time you tell it. And that's okay. If you've ever done any kind of accuracy shooting, target shooting, archery, riflery, they say aim small, hit small. And what that means is that you want to paint a very precise target of outcome, but know that you're not going to hit it the first time. You know how many, when you're going out as a sniper, how many people go out in a sniper team? You know? There's at least two. There's the shooter and the spotter. And the spotter isn't there to tell them if they hit. The spotter is there to tell them how they missed. That's why painting a really clear target and then telling the story a few times, it will help you understand how to get closer and closer to the outcome you want.